Well, it is time for Friday with the Fuzz. I'll just toss it over to Michael Greene.
All right, thanks, Derek. In the studio with us today is Elgin's Chief of Police, Jeff Swoboda. Welcome, Jeff. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me. Fantastic morning.
Looking forward to this weekend with all the freezing rain.
Is that what we're having? You guys always enlighten me as the
we're in a
weather.
freezing rain advisory right now.
One great thing about this is I know the weather in advance. I can tell all my friends, like, yeah, well, you know, it's going to be a nice weekend. So
You're a little Tom Skilling, huh?
Yeah,
a little Tom Skilling.
I like it.
We had a bunch of stuff we wanted to talk about. It seems like you're never at a loss for things that are going on. I was both saddened and overjoyed this morning. I read a press release, bittersweet, and I'm sure it is for you as well, but we'll get into that in a moment. First, I do want to talk about, we didn't talk about this last week, and that was that the Elgin Police Department kind of focused a sweep almost of some different drug sales that were going on in and around the city of Elgin. And I don't know, were you specifically, the press release talks about prescription drugs and prescription pills and things like that. Was that a target? Was that just, it just started to steamroll? How does that investigation like that start? I mean, is that someone from the drug unit saying, hey, this is a real problem right now, or what?
Yeah, Chris Jensen, who leads our narcotics unit, is just a great team. And what they're able to do is just see what's going on in the streets, look at some of the crime trends that we're having, talk with people after they're arrested in Elgin and debrief them as far as what's going on. Work closely with our gang unit and our USA. So really everybody's working together. And one of the things that it's not a surprise to anybody is the issue with prescription drugs. And so when we talk with somebody and we start with an informant, certain people have certain types of lifestyles and they're more involved in, they might be involved in cocaine. Somebody else that's an informant for us might be involved in prescription drugs. So many of the things are started and lead us down a path based on who we have and who's working with us. And so the prescription drugs came from them, recognizing that this was a big problem. Also been doing a lot with the pharmacies and talking with them about security, so making sure that in prescriptions and making sure that we don't have issues on that side of it. But prescription drugs is a big problem. So our narcotics unit just started out and really started identifying people who were involved in selling prescription drugs on the black market. And started out with a few people, turned it into, this is one, again, where you make the one or two arrests. It doesn't have the intended effect of actually, knocking down some of the crime and identifying the people who are doing this. So started this and then actually held on to some of the warrants and go out and serve all the warrants at one time. And there are a number that are still outstanding. The first day, I think we arrested 5 or 6, and there's just a few more that were arrested in the past week.
So originally identified 20, and as you said, it looks like 5 people, 4 being from Elgin, were arrested in that first sweep. And then there was a press release the next day about an arrest that was made for drug sales, and this was an individual from South Elgin, but the crime occurred in Elgin. And then when he fled police, this is where I started to kind of laugh, and then later didn't put 2 and 2 together until later, where I laughed only because he fled in reverse at like 10 miles an hour. And I'm just picturing this in my head. Except it didn't become funny because he hit a few cars, he could have endangered, well, he did endanger a lot of people, could have hurt other people. And then on top of that, he has a 11-month-old child in the car.
Yes.
And the link was, hey, wait, this is part of the 20 that were originally targeted.
Exactly. Yes, it was. We still have many outstanding warrants for people who are will be, catching them soon. We hope. And this was one that one of our, I think it was our unit for special assignment, went out and found him and went to make the arrest. And only avenue of escape was in reverse, and took off in reverse and exactly hit a few cars, and then we were able to eventually didn't go after him at that point. So this guy's, we're not going to put on a pursuit and endanger many people's lives. And so we waited. We were able to have another unit kind of in an unmarked car see where he was at, and we were then eventually able to, when he was stopped in traffic, jump out and take him into arrest and charged with multiple things. So not only did he have the warrant arrest from the sweep, but then with that there's fleeing and eluding, there's leaving the scene of a crash, endangering the life of a child. So there are many new charges with him as well. Or the child taken to the hospital just a precaution, make sure everything's okay. But yeah, could have been much worse. But that's people aren't thinking clearly, especially when they're on any type of drugs. But even especially prescription drugs.
We'll stick with the not so good news, and we'll go next to boxing.
Okay.
You guys had your the fundraiser through the Latino
Police Officers Association.
Yep, thank you. And you had 4 individuals fighting. We had sergeant, correct?
We had a lieutenant.
Lieutenant
Al Young.
Yep, Al Young.
And then Eric Echeverria.
Heather Robinson.
Eric
Echeverria, and
Miriam Uribe.
Yes, thank you.
Yep.
And 0 for 4.
0 for 4, yes.
Sorry, I don't know how else to say it.
No, we report all the news
0
here.
for 4.
You know, we report the good and the bad. Yes, it was. We were there. My wife and I attended, as well as many people from the Elgin community, and Elgin officers were there cheering them on, as well as all people from Cary and Woodstock and Aurora, obviously. And it was another fantastic event. Alfredo Dean and the Latino Police Officers Association down there did a great job. It was at a high school, Aurora East High School, and our boxers were ready. They were all in great shape and have trained for months, and they were all very clean. Not just saying this. Nobody was knocked out. It was nothing, but they all lost. I'm not going to try and go into it anymore. Right? They all lost. They all great sportsmanship.
So it wasn't
though.
Ugly, but it was still a loss.
Well, it's boxing, and when you lose, it's hard to lose pretty in boxing.
Right.
So they got punched in the face a bunch of times. And
did you give anybody any pointers afterward about how you won last year? Or?
No, I was
just kind of left it alone, right?
I went in the back this time, and everybody was. Last year it was a little bit more relaxed. I'm talking with Chief Thomas, my opponent, and some of the other people, and this year, man, people had their game faces. I was scared. I went in the back room just to tell everybody good luck and everything, and I was scared back there. Everybody's ready to. I'm like, man, I know it's for charity, but so I got mine out of the way early the first year, which is a good thing, and this thing's going to grow because I think a few people, not Elgin, but a few people might have left. Feeling that next year they're going to have to redeem themselves, and so there might be some rematches next year. Who knows? But they all did a great show, great sportsmanship, just to get in the ring. And it's one thing to think from the outside how that'd be a little that'd be wild to get in the ring. But then when you're actually in there in front of a lot of people, and it's just you and somebody else. There's no team sport in boxing. I give them a lot of credit for even having the guts to get in the ring. And so great showing, raised a lot of money. Actually, the girl that when Ann and I won last year, we were able to bring the scholarship back. And the girl, name escapes me right now, but was able to get 2 years free at ECC. She wanted to be a criminal justice major and really couldn't afford college, didn't know what she was going to do. But with this, she was able to get the check, so they're going to give her a free ride to ECC because Ann and I were able to pull out a victory last year. So it was very cool to see. Very
nice. Also cool to see is the way that the Elgin Police Department continues to receive awards. You had... I saw Senior Services. There was a post up on the Elgin Police Facebook page, which is at 9,998.
We're right there.
Nine?
Oh,
Nine?
Nine.
All right, need one more to hit 10,000.
Wow.
To get that. So I saw a picture of Heather Farrell up there from the Elgin Police Department receiving an award. Maybe you can talk about that a little bit, because when I read it and I looked at it, I was like, how did I not hear about this before? Evidently, she saved someone's life at Senior Services.
Senior Services, yeah. We don't necessarily do press releases when somebody does this. It's just something that officers, fire department, and it's not trying to, downplay a great heroic. It really is. Officers do so many things that most people don't even hear about. We do press releases when it affects the community. There's bigger issues going on. But in this case, we're at the Senior Services, and just a few months ago, and one of the people there enjoying lunch started choking, and Heather was able to do some quick action, was able to do the Heimlich maneuver a few times. It was very difficult to get it unlodged, but was able to do it, and really saved her life. And so Rick Santiago, who was there at the time, saw the whole thing, was able to write it up, put it in, and she was able to get an award on Wednesday night at the City Council meeting. The mayor and Sergeant Santiago, who wrote up the award, as long as I know Bill Wolf was there, Commander Lally, and unfortunately, I was interviewing police officers across the street at the police department. We're doing all of our interviews, and I couldn't miss that. So I unfortunately had to miss this, but we had, I think, 50 officers show up. And it's always great when we see that many officers show up and support one another. But, officers do work like this routinely, and it doesn't always make the front page. It doesn't always get out. That's one of the things I really like about our Facebook page. And now with 10,000 followers, our circulation is pretty well as well.
10,000.
Nearly 10,000. And we'll get the good news out there. We also put the bad news out there. But this was a great job by Heather Farrell. And she said something at the City Council meeting that when stuff like this happens, you resort to training. And it just kind of clicks, and you don't have time necessarily to think. And And that's so true, and that's why we spend in the Elgin Police Department a lot of money, a lot of time on training our officers, and on a lot of things that we hope we'll never have to actually use. You know, we do active shooter drills. Another thing just happened in Florida State. I just saw, or down in Florida, I'm not sure if it was Florida State.
I believe you're right. Yep.
And you know, you hope you hope for the best, but you train for the worst. And so we spend a lot of time. We have great trainers. And on my way in, I passed Jeff Schultz, was one of the people who spent some time training us and getting the police department going. But just throughout the entire police department. We just have people who just really spend a lot of time making us better daily. And Heather was another person. Everybody should be very proud of Heather.
Yeah, it's incredible. You broke some news to me that there's going to be a press release coming out today for another award yet from Reflejos.
Oh, yeah, we were just talking with the, yes, Reflejos on, I think it was Tuesday night. They had a big... event at ECC, and they gave awards out to the community of who's impacted the community. The Elgin Police Department was an award winner with Reflejos for our outreach, and specifically the outreach we're doing, for those who don't know, it's a publication. It's in English and Spanish, and with a lot of the things that the police department are doing for outreach. But one of them specifically that's been going, and the credit goes to Commander Anna Lally and Eric Echeverria, as we just spoke about. He put together a monthly article, and it's not always Eric, it's always somebody else kind of coordinates it. But just, you know, what to do when you're the victim of a crime. You know, what are people's rights when this happens? And so it's really just getting more word out, and so it's a great partnership with us and Reflejos. Reflejos appreciates all the work we've been putting in, and so myself, Sergeant Santiago, Commander Lally, and Eric Echeverria were at the event with Roberto Garza from the Bears, and they were all able to come out, and we had a nice time getting an award. So. Yes, it was another great award, and I always talk. I stood up, got the plaque, got the picture, and I always say, you know, the credit goes up and the work goes down. And so, you know, I'm the one as the chief who gets it, but it's again about all the work that goes on daily at the Elgin Police Department. That's not done by me, but done by everyone else who's just doing fantastic work out there.
And last I wanted to talk about, and certainly not least, this is the one I said it was kind of bittersweet, yet I was overjoyed to hear it. Because I've gotten to know this individual on a personal level as well somewhat. I've worked with him in my business at my full-time job, and I've worked with his wife and kids and sister-in-law. I just got to know the family a little bit, and I'm very happy for him. But Glenn Theriault has gotten the police chief's job in Sycamore.
Yes.
Incredible. And all these awards and everything else that goes on, it brings attention. And they say, we want some of that.
Oh, absolutely. And, you know, is it a credit to the Elgin Police Department and the organization we have? Sure, that's part of it. But it's a bigger credit, really, just to Glenn. Glenn's been on over 20 years now.
I know, I couldn't believe it.
I know.
The guy's like quick. 30. He started at 10?
30.
Oh.
Have you seen Glenn?
I see.
No, it's true.
He is hips and everything. Yeah.
He is very young, but to be identified as a police chief and be taken over the Sycamore Police Department, I know he's ecstatic. But you're exactly right. You know, the fact that you know Glenn, and then it's I'm not surprised that you then met his wife and his kids. And Glenn is very family-oriented,
yes,
always out in the community, knows everybody in the community, and the family's always with him. And it's a huge. It's going to be tough to replace Glenn in the Elgin Police Department. There's no doubt. I'm excited for him as well. It's a huge opportunity for him. He'll do fantastic out there. I talked to their chief yesterday, and I'm like, they're getting a great police chief. And so, yeah, but it's another example of kind of the organization that we've had that's been building for years that I credit as well for me being able to be the police chief. It's just we've had deputy chiefs and lieutenants and chiefs in the past who've really trained us well, been role models for us, and so we've been able to kind of be the able to carry that forward. So very excited for Glenn. I thought he's a little under the weather and has been very busy this week with things, but I invited him late last night to come this morning. Today wasn't going to work because, like I said, a little under the weather, but he will definitely be in here before he goes. And there'll be a celebration. There'll be a ceremony. We'll announce it
the city council's voting on December 1st, and that's probably more or less a foregone conclusion, I would imagine.
You would think.
Then,
we would hope so, right?
And then start date tentatively, I think it said the press release January 5th.
I think, right after the new year.
Yeah.
So probably before the holidays we're looking, because then we would have some promotions within the police department.
Yep.
So it's going to be, I've already gotten text, and multiple people, calling up and saying, oh, we're losing Glenn. And he's not going far away, so people will still be able to see Glenn. But it is. I mean, you look around the Elgin Police Department, there are a few areas that haven't been touched by Glenn Theriault and the work that he's done. And so everywhere we look, it's so that's going to be tough to replace.
I think he's been in just about every division of
Yes,
right?
yeah, as a resident officer as well, and so really has never lost that community policing idea. And so it's been great working with him, and so he'll be here. He'll be here, and you'll be able to say your goodbyes in person. And then we'll have for the community to know. We're still finalizing this stuff, but there will absolutely be something at the center in the coming weeks once everything is finalized, and we'll have a big celebration and send them off, and everybody will have their chance to congratulate Glenn and his family.
Great stuff. Thank you very much, Jeff, for coming in and sharing all the good and bad with us.
It is, yeah. You know, and I appreciate the opportunity. I know I kind of sometimes briefly mention it, but it is really nice to be able to have WRMN as a partner for us to get the information out. And like I said, we come in here sometimes and we talk about bad things and that have occurred in the city. And we can also talk about good things, but it's really about just making sure everybody's informed with what's going on in their community and getting involved. And a lot of stuff going on at the police department. Just real quick, the other night I stopped in. I was there late again. Forget what night it was now. Wednesday night, I think. And Jeff Adam leading the Explorers. We had, I think, 50 police Explorers in the training room and just learning. So the future is very bright for the police department. The officers we're interviewing right now for the police chief job.
It's going to be a tough
I'm
choice.
blown away.
Yeah.
I mean, we have got some fantastic people that are looking to be police officers. So the future is looking very bright, and appreciate WRMN's support and everybody in the community. So
it's our pleasure. Thank you very much. Have a great weekend. Be safe out there.
Thanks, guys.
Anytime. You're listening to AM 1410, WRMN.
In Elgin. Come here.